Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it Love the Illness. Now, I know you may think, wait a minute, if I love the illness, wouldn't that increase it and I will end up not being able to let go of it or so? Well, pay close attention to see what I mean here. Illness, physical condition, whatever the case may be, all it does is that it brings the attention heavily to the sense of identity, to the body, to the person. Okay? So what it does is that it intensifies the belief that I am a separate entity. Now, what I am in essence, what we are, is actually love. But love is overshadowed by the belief that I am a person, by the belief in separation, also you could say by judgment. So, when someone is diagnosed with a particular condition, I understand that the tendency is that we need to fight that. We need to do something to not think about it, push it away, whatever. What I mean by loving the condition is by not judging it, simply seeing that if that is happening, that's exactly what is supposed to happen, because there are no mistakes in the universe. Now, every single experience can be used to either fuel the belief that I'm a separate entity, to distract, or it could be used to remind myself of who I am, which is that which words cannot describe, consequently doesn't even pertain to whatever the condition that I might be experiencing may be. I can remain in that peace, and therefore that condition was used for healing, was used for the purpose of remembering who I am, who or what I am, which is ever-presence, experiencing, if you want to use that term, is just what is, okay? Consequently, there's no suffering. It's just an experience like any other. Now, let's use a scenario. Let's say someone is diagnosed with a particular condition. Some may call it terminal, it doesn't matter, but someone is diagnosed with that particular condition. Loving the condition is not looking at the condition and saying, I love you, because again, this is not a feeling we're pointing to here. It's looking at the condition and remembering that I am. That is what I mean by loving, because that way fear is not increased and there's no resistance to the condition. Okay? Because remember that the only reason why fear could be experienced is because I believe that I'm a separate entity, and the condition could put an end to that. That's the only reason why. If I know who I am, the condition has no power over me. Okay? So, let's say someone is diagnosed with a particular condition, and then the doctor says, well, we can give you this particular treatment. Some people call some treatments like intrusive or whatever, it doesn't matter. Those treatments have helped other people. So I'm not saying that they're wrong, no, they're right. I'm simply saying that each seeming character may be dealing with a situation differently, but not get caught into judging one treatment better over the other one. Okay? Some people may need what they may call the intrusive one, while other people may not need that one. The problem is when the mind, the ego thought system with the conceptual mind says, this is intrusive, I should not go that way. Not because it's not the right thing to do, but because it's what the mind is telling them. That's why I always say, better step away from all the beliefs, just be present and see how life unfolds, okay, for each individual. To some may be to go with that particular treatment. To others may be to go into the woods and spend weeks or months there in silent contemplation. To others may be to try to homeopathy, So again, none of them is better than the other one. They're just simply different approaches according to the person's tendencies or whatever the case may be, but not necessarily to their beliefs. See, we're stepping away from beliefs here. We're just simply open. So now let's use the intrusive one, okay? For example, let's say somebody's diagnosed with a condition and this particular treatment seems to be intrusive. Well, when we look at it from the ego's perspective, we say this is intrusive, this is not the right thing to do, or whatever the case may be. But if we look at it from non-judgmental perspective, which is love, the illness, which if you take the word illness, is just basically an expression of life in a different form. There's no negative judgment to that. It's just simply another expression. Like the body is an expression, everything is an expression of that. So everything has the right to express if that is what's happening. So anyhow, going back to what we're speaking here. So the person has a condition. This particular treatment, that some may call it intrusive, which it's another expression of love dealing with that, and when it's not seen from a place of fear, now is seen as a way to escort that physical condition out the door. But there's no suffering, it's just simply watching the play unfolding. Some people are dealing with physical conditions, and therefore life presents the seeming cure for those conditions. That may take different forms. It doesn't matter what the form takes. What we're doing here, however, is never losing sight of who I am. You see? So if you ask me, but if I have this condition, what should I do? That's not the right question. I don't know. I have no clue. But whatever is happening in the world of appearances, we can see if we're identified with the content of the mind, which is judging, which is analyzing, which is translating everything, and that is the cause of all fear and all worry and all concern. Because the judgmental mind, or the mind that is translating everything, is there only because there's an underlying belief that says I am a separate entity. If I simply am, whatever happens is just what is. It means absolutely nothing. And while this just what isness seems to be happening, also I can see, or it can be seen, how the character, the instrument, is moved to appropriate action in order to deal with this particular scenario. Sometimes the instrument is moved to do something about it. Sometimes the instrument is not moved to do anything about it. But the thing we have to remember is that we are not the instrument. We are ever presence experiencing. We are life itself. These videos always point to that. You see? That's what it is, says, I am that. You are that. All of this is that. That is all there is. When we stop judging life as it's unfolding, because actually the illness, if you want to call it that way, is the experience of separation. You know, we're not healing the body, we're healing the mind from believing that it's separate from the body. You see? So we're addressing the cause. The cause is the belief that I'm a separate entity. When that cause is being overlooked, now I believe that I am a separate entity, but now I want to apply these principles that may seem very interesting, you know, the acceptance, everything is as it is, but I'm doing it to try to change something, to try to change the character. In other words, to keep believing that I am a separate entity, but more comfortable. But the thing is that life is not comfortable. Life is. What I mean is the human experience is what I mean. It's not comfortable. It's ups and downs. I mean, the body always has something that needs to be looked at, and that you have to feed it, and you have to go to the bathroom, and you have to do all these kinds of things. It's a suit. It's a heavy space suit. If you take an astronaut and you take him to the moon, the space suit doesn't weigh anything. But if you put that space suit on Earth when there is gravity, it's very heavy. Well, we can learn to live in a light manner when we don't identify with the content of the mind. And then when we don't identify with the content of the mind, we are living in love. That's what being in love is all about. We are expressions, we are love expressing as this unique seeming character. And yes, each character will have its seeming challenges. But when the mind is not identified with a sense of identity, it's not that it will not deal with the challenges. The challenges will be dealt in a more effortless, in a spontaneous way, which is what is referred to as spontaneous right action. You see? So loving your illness is another way of saying stop judging it. The whole book, The Gift of an Illness, is based on that. I mean, it's a book that is focuses specifically on that, so you never lose sight of who you are, and realizing that the gift that the illness is bringing you is the opportunity to see if you're still distracted with the content of the mind. That's all. Because all bodies, they have an expiration date. Some will live, because of a seeming physical condition. Some will just live because of what is referred to as, I don't know, natural causes. What is a natural cause? We don't know. It's just life saying, okay, I'm not expressing through this instrument anymore. But it's interesting because every time, every day, I mean every night when we go to bed, when there's no conscious awareness of what we are, we're free. The body's no longer, we're not aware of it. So that is the death that people are so afraid of. So whatever the case may be, if you're dealing with a particular condition, how to deal with it? Well, observe how life uses you and presents the scenario in order to help deal with that according to your temperament. Some people may need what some may call it the intrusive approach, and that it has worked for some people. So who am I to judge that? Some others may say, I don't feel that I want to go with that approach. I don't know why, but they may feel that they want to go with that less intrusive approach. It doesn't matter, because the point is that there is no suffering because I know who I am. See, that's what we're pointing to here all the time. What I am, what you are, is what is. If we don't identify with the content of the mind, whatever the mind is trying to sell me, then I am free. See? That's the freedom in which we rest always, that is overlooked by the mind translating everything. Okay? And now you are resting in love, resting in peace. You're happy, in spite of whatever takes place in the world of appearances. That's what is referred to as the peace that passes all understanding. It's not the peace that takes place when things go my way. That's not peace. That's a temporary pleasure. The peace that passes all understanding is the awareness that I am, and in that awareness I see how life unfolds, and no matter what happens, no matter what takes place, cannot affect who I am, cannot affect what I am. And like we all will do in every video, let's just do it again here. Let's put it to the test. Right now, no matter what seems to be taking place in your seeming human experience, okay, we're not denying it, we're not pretending that this is not happening, we're just simply looking at approaching it differently. Okay, whatever may be happening in your human experience is just what happens. Don't identify with the thought, don't let the thought translate that, just don't believe anything the mind is trying to sell you about it. Just be present right now, just being, because it's what's happening anyway. You see, you're always being, just being overlooked by thinking. And now, from that space, just being, don't identify with the content of the mind. Let the thoughts be there. They will be there. That's not a problem. They don't have to go away. Right now, resting in presence. You see? Just being. This is not a peace or a tranquility or anything. This is just beingness. Okay? Even if it may be a physical sensation or whatever, it doesn't matter. Even if there's noise outside, cars passing by, or you're in the middle of a very noisy space, it doesn't matter, because if the mind does not make a judgment of any of those things, then this is just what is. You see? And you're resting in that, you see? See, you're loving, by not judging, you're loving everything. You're just being in that space. And you see that there's no suffering there. It's just beingness. Resting in that beingness is what I mean by loving the illness. See? And the illness, again, is not a physical condition. It's the belief in separation. That's the illness. If I don't judge that, I am loving. Consequently, I am loving everything. That's what I extend to everything. And the paradox is that when I am resting in that space, where the mind is not identified with all the fear and all the judgment and all these concerns, it's like we're in a much better position to see what decision is made through us, which consequently could be or is the most appropriate one for whatever the scenario may be. You see? And then, if that physical condition, if that illness that appeared or seemed to have appeared, which we're not denying, we're just simply saying if that seems to appear, is no longer a distraction, then it may not have to appear again, because it did its job. Its job was to bring awareness of what I am. And if the condition remains, for whatever the reason is, then we're just simply in a space of love. We're loving, we're at peace with what is. And again, if you're concerned when I said, what if the condition stays, because some people may be dealing with a condition and they want the condition to go away, remember this. What we're pointing here is not about any particular condition. This is not what we're pointing to here. What we're pointing to here is who I am. You see, if you're dreaming, if you're in bed having a dream, and in the dream there's a situation that you may call it overwhelming, it's only overwhelming if you believe in the dream. But if you're consciously aware that you are the one dreaming the dream, now the scenario is not overwhelming, it's just simply another image. When you know who you are, in essence, now everything that seems to be appearing in the world of appearances is not a distraction. And this is what we're pointing to here. So again, let's not get caught up into the details of the movie. All of us have whatever we're supposed to have. We'll experience whatever we're meant to experience. The question is, how am I going to experience it? With a mind that is filled with fear, with a judgmental mind, or with a mind that is experiencing the love that it is, which is eternal, which is a non-judgmental mind. See? If there's no judgment, then life is an experience, it's a wonderful journey, because I know that nothing could ever happen to me. You go to bed at night and you go to sleep and you disappear. You see? Wonderful. This is the best that could happen. And then when you wake up in the morning, it's an indicative that life is telling you, okay, you still have the play continues, so let's see how you're going to live the play today. Are you going to live it from a place of judgment, believing in it, and consequently experiencing fear and suffering? Or are you going to see it as is, and then see how life throws all these different curves, and you can just look at them? It's like a surfer. You can now surf the wave instead of being against the wave. You see? Well, life is a wave and you're the surfer. Well, you now are becoming skilled enough to know who you are. And now life unfolds as it will. I don't know what's going to happen with this character. I have no idea. All I know is that right now I'm making a video. That's it. I don't know how the day will unfold. Some people may have agendas. Okay, that's fine. I seem to have an appointment at 1 o'clock. Okay, well, I write it down knowing that it may happen or it may not. And if I have to take a bus or take the car or take the train or whatever, I find myself making the appropriate arrangements to make sure that that takes place. And yet, while all of that is being done, there's a recognition that I am not doing it. It's being done through me. Because again, I am the instrument in the human experience through which life, which is what I truly am, expresses through. Life is expressing through you right now, which its particular conditions and situations and experiences, and so is through each and every one of its parts. But we're remembering that we are not the part, we are the whole. When you know what you are, you're no longer concerned about what happened with the parts, because you know you're not the part, and none of the parts are the way they appear to be. And even a physical condition is another seeming part that is taking place, that is felt, but it doesn't matter. Feelings, sensations, thoughts, all of that is just part of this, cosmic soup, if you want to say that. But we are not the cosmic soup. We are the bowl in which the cosmic soup seems to appear. If you know you're the bowl, the cosmic soup doesn't distract you and has no effect on the peace, the love, the happiness that you are. If you identify with the soup, overlooking that you're the bowl, now you are practically giving away your power, or seeming that you're giving away your power to an illusion, because the bowl is, and it never changes. The soup will change. It will be eaten, you see, and then you put another soup. It will be eaten again. Well, that's what the body is. The body is like the soup that is born and then it has its expiration date. See, if we identify with what is changing, we're always going to be dealing with the challenges of believing that we're a body. And some bodies may seem to have a wonderful life, but again, guess what? It's going to have an expiration date. Some may seem to have a miserable life, and guess why? Guess what? It will also have an expiration date. But if we are the bowl, you rest in peace eternally. You rest in peace, you're happy always, because now you know who you are. See, that's what we're pointing to. The illness is not who you are, it's part of the soup. And this body that you think that you are, watching or listening to this video, is also part of the soup. But what we are is the bowl itself. And if we don't identify with the judgments of the mind, if we don't identify with that, then we remain as such, as love and peace. And well, how this life will unfold, we don't know, it's a mystery. But now you know that when you go to bed at night, life is giving a rest from this soup, and it's great. And do I want to wake up the next morning? I have no preference whatsoever. I just know that when I go to bed at night, the soup is no longer a distraction. I get into this resting, wonderful, that is not even an experience. It's just simply, I don't know, the absence of the seeming identity. And then if I wake up in the morning, because now I know who I am, I can now swim in the soup with a different mentality. And then sometimes the soup has carrots, sometimes it has turkey, it sometimes has celery, and it doesn't matter, because whatever the soup may bring, it does not affect the fact that I am. And now life is fun. Life is a wonderful experience. And even when there's a physical condition, wow, look what is showing up here now, but I know who I am. And see, if you know who you are, that's what we're pointing to all the time, nothing else. And then you see how the physical condition goes away, and then you don't go, oh, thank God it went away. No, just this, oh, look, it just went away. And then something else comes along. Some of the things that may come along, or the experiences, may be pleasurable, and some may be painful. But now I'm resting in the center. The pleasurables, you can enjoy them. The non-pleasurables, you see them as such, but there's no suffering. It's just life, the ever dance, you see. But you are that, you see, in which all seem to appear and disappear, like one of the books that I wrote, I am, in which everything seemed to appear and disappear. And all there is now is the peace that passes all understanding, the happiness that is ever present, the love that is eternal. That's what you are. And now the details of the movie are not distractions anymore. And as things seem to unfold from beingness, you observe how life leads or uses the seeming character or the instrument to deal with whatever seems to be happening. But you're resting in the recognition that I am. And that is all we will always be reminding or remembering in these particular videos. Well, this is the inspiration that came through this seeming character, whatever you want to call it. Hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.